Shallow sparkling waters, clean creamy frankincense. This one here is a fragrance for that. Hello, welcome back to Seldomly Off, and I'm Daniel. Today we're talking fragrances, and this is a practical review of Amouage Lineage. These reviews are for fragrances I have a lot of experience with, multiple wears in many situations, and I'm meant to give you a general idea of what it feels to wear the fragrance. As per usual, I do a lot of research before buying fragrances, but I really like to go into details about notes and accords. I don't think they help the end user. I'd rather talk about the wear experience as a whole. Lineage is first and foremost an absolutely gorgeous fragrance, definitely one of the best Amouage releases in recent years. I bought this about 6 months ago after a lot of thought, after a lot of pondering. I have to fully admit that when I first smelled it, when this thing released, I wasn't super impressed. It came across as a little bit too simple, too nondescript, but the thing really grew on me, and I've gone through 2 samples and eventually I decided to pull the trigger on a full bottle. I feel that my slight initial disappointment in this fragrance was just me not necessarily being accustomed to the style of creative direction brought to the table by Renaud Salmon, and I really want to talk about this. Me covering all these new releases, doing the unboxings, doing these reviews, really has led me to understand the brand a lot better and to understand the differences in creative direction between the previous Christopher Chong and the current Renaud Salmon. I might be pigeonholing myself into a massive conversation, into a massive debate, but I just want to underline that these two individuals are separate people with different visions and different approaches. Christopher Chong had a much more traditional approach to perfumery. He produced fragrances to be worn as perfumes, first and foremost. Yes, the products were super complex, very, very beautiful, so many details to uncover, so many fine nuances, but ultimately they are designed to be worn as perfumes. On the flip side, I feel that Renaud Salmon is a much more visual person. You can definitely see this from his photography. His products are much more representative of a scene, of an image, of a feeling, and Lineage definitely falls into this suit. And I fully realize that this is oversimplifying the differences and approaches. I might even be willing to delve into the topic, maybe in a frag talk. Leave a comment down below if you would be interested in such a conversation. Anyway, I brought this up because Lineage, on a surface level, appears to be very, very simple in concept, but the more you experience it, the more you spend time with this fragrance, the more you uncover it, and you really discover all the fine details and nuances. This is an absolutely beautifully evocative and transportative scent. As you may know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, I'm a huge fan of marine fragrances and aquatic fragrances in general. I really like fragrances that properly convey the idea of water, of being next to a body of water, it being a lake, it being the sea, or even a river. Water and landscape go so well together. Water is life. It adds so much richness, so much lushness, and makes the environment just so welcoming. I'm also incredibly fascinated by environments which are deprived of water, such as deserts, but there's nothing better than sitting on the seashore, looking at the rolling waves, possibly in the winter. I don't really like sun, and this fragrance really hits on all fronts. And Lineage is a very special fragrance because it really manages to convey the idea and the feeling of water in such a delicate, relaxing, and romantic way. Lineage is a beautiful watercolor image of the coast of Oman. You see the shimmers on the waves. You see these beautiful ancient frankincense trees looking over the coast. It's absolutely incredible. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Perfumed by one of my favorite perfumers ever, Karim bin Spenner. Amouage should definitely employ a lot more of her, especially in the coming projects. She really managed to inject a lot of emotion in this fragrance. It's so particular, it's so evocative, it's so transportative. Every time I smell this, I'm instantly transported to this beautiful pastel coastal environment with rocks and with gently rolling waves. Everything is just so perfect and so dreamlike, it's almost blurry. But we're going to talk about the scent profile of our experience after we cover the presentation. When it comes to presentation, given the fact that Amouage is a very expensive and luxurious brand, you might have your expectations set to the very highest standards, but you would not be disappointed. The products by Amouage are absolutely top tier. They're pretty much faultless to the point where I'm almost tired of talking about how good they are. In the case of Lineage, it's an interesting presentation though, because this one here is the first fragrance that I'll be covering that is showcased in a woman's bottle. This is a beautiful departure from the man's bottle. I really like the design of these. They're so exceedingly well made, and they offer a different take, a different cap. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities between these bottles and the ones from the men's line, namely the excellent finish and the beautiful labeling. But the most distinct difference, in my opinion, is the apparent size change. Despite these containing the same amount of liquid, 100 ml, these bottles look much smaller, but if you look closely, especially from the side, they are indeed thicker. The other major difference is obviously in the cap. When it comes to the fragrances from the men's line, you have the Omani dagger handle. When it comes to the fragrances for the women's line, you have this beautiful Omani dome with the gem on top instead of up front. It's really beautiful. I really like this cap. It feels very solid. It feels metal. It feels lacquered. It snaps onto the fragrance with a nice magnetic, satisfying attachment. It's really great. No complaints in that regard. The atomizer for the women's line is the same as the men's line. The atomization for Amouage is really not that great, but it does the job. I stopped complaining just because it is what it is. That being said, I really have to give it to Amouage. The atomizers do look really luxurious when it comes to materials and overall finish. Let's give this fragrance a couple sprays, maybe even 3. I've been wearing this as my scent of the day, even at the office. It's absolutely beautiful, very mass appealing, very likable. I think that it's deceivingly powerful. I think that it goes low volume, but it lingers a lot. It's really perceivable in the air. It's really pretty, not invasive whatsoever. It's a marine fragrance, but it doesn't have that abrasive cologne note at all. This is very beautiful. It's very pretty. And in my opinion, it leans completely unisex despite being showcased in the women's bottle. Speaking of that, since the release of the Odyssey line, all of the fragrances by Amouage have been labeled completely unisex. I completely get that, and I understand that because anyone can wear whatever they want. I myself also enjoy some of the fragrances from the women line throughoutly. All you need to know is that the fragrances that come into this bottle style might lean a little bit more feminine, while the fragrances that come into the more masculine bottle style might lean a little bit more masculine. All of these can be worn by pretty much anyone though. Continuing on to the presentation and down to the bottle, all that I want to mention is the bottle color itself. It's super beautiful. I really like the finish. It's a semi-translucent thing that allows you to sort of see the liquid content. It's so peaceful, so pastel, and it really represents the scent inside. It's really cool, and I really like these more modern colors. Before ending the presentation section, let's quickly touch upon price and value for money. Fragrances by Amouage are objectively expensive, especially if you go retail. That being said, Lineage and many others can be found at significant price drops at discounters. I got this for about $180, which is really not bad, especially considering that's 100 ml. It's very potent, it's very long lasting, and it's absolutely beautiful and unique. I truly think that Amouage, especially when looked at from the point of view of a discounter, offer decent value for money. These fragrances are unique, they smell high quality, they last a long time, the presentation is top tier, and overall offer a very luxurious experience. If you can get these at a discounted price, maybe even sub 200, you got yourself a pretty good deal. This one here is absolutely incredible. But it's finally time to talk about the scent profile and wear experience for Amouage Lineage. What does this actually smell like? To put it very simply, this is a delicate, very relaxing marine scent with a backbone of realistic, fruity, creamy frankincense. It's one of the best frankincense renditions that I've ever smelled. When you first spray this on, you're immediately met with frankincense, a lot of frankincense. The incense note in here though is quite different. It doesn't come across as churchy at all. It's not smoky, it's not religious, it's not sacred, or rather, it's not sacred in the traditional religious sort of term, but it's more sacred in a more natural sort of way. It's very beautiful, it's so relaxing, it's so pure. It's one of the best frankincense notes I've ever smelled in my life. It's so creamy, so floral, so fruity. It's so delicate. It's like the true resin. It really smells like you're picking the frankincense right off the tree, right then and there, gently massaging the resin between your fingers, bringing your fingers to your nostrils, and picking up on all of those beautiful nuances, which are floral, fruity, and so delicate. It's so creamy and realistic. You really get the texture of the frankincense, and I really applaud Karim Spaniard for replicating the idea of frankincense so incredibly well. I bought frankincense recently. I bought a bag of it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's the same exact feeling that you get in this fragrance. Together with the super complex, very nuanced frankincense accord that you find in the opening, you can also get a glimpse at the marine aspect of this. The saltiness in here, the sea-like feature, the sea-like vibe in here is second to none. It's so beautiful, so tranquil, so delicate, and so timid. It's incredibly well done. There's none of the aroma chemicals which are typically found in other marine niche fragrances, none of the abrasiveness, none of the fishiness, none of the stinkiness. There's no cologne, there's nothing like that. It doesn't smell like seaweed. It just smells smells like sand and water. Sand, water, and frankincense. It's almost dreamlike. It's almost blurry. It's absolutely beautiful. You can really smell, you can really picture the shimmer off the waves, the sparkle off the rocks, the texture of the sand. Everything is almost muffled, but in a good way. It's muffled almost as if you were underwater, hearing the sounds. It's absolutely glorious. If you smell this and try to deconstruct the scent, try to find out the notes for this, which is something that I wouldn't necessarily recommend for a fragrance like this, because in my opinion, this is all about the bigger picture. You might stumble upon some florals. The florals in here come across as white, clean, and creamy. There's maybe a little bit of orange blossom giving this scent a little bit of freshness and cleanliness, but there's probably also some tuberose giving the scent a lot of creaminess, adding to the texture of the frankincense. The scent itself is pretty simple. Again, it's frankincense in this beautiful marine accord. But again, the beauty is in the subtlety, the beauty is in the nuances, the beauty is in the way these two components really interplay with each other, really painting a picture. As I said before, this is really evocative. You really can see this vivid imagery of this beautiful Omani coastline, which is pastel-like. Again, pastel is the perfect term for this because it comes across as delicate. It's delicate, it's timid, it's subtle, but it's so present at the same time. This fragrance has a lot of presence, it has a lot of push, it has a lot of body. It's very deep. It basically sits into the mid-tone or base of the tonal range. There's very little sparkle up top. There's maybe a tiny bit of metallic note, which is just pushing through, replicating the marine aspect. But other than that, the scent is pretty bass heavy. It's pretty drony. It fills the area like a fog. It fills it like a smoke. It's very beautiful. The frankincense in here, by the way, is not smoky at all. It just comes across as creamy and tactile. It's in its solid form. Sticking to the simplicity aspect of the scent, even when it comes to transition and evolution, it doesn't really evolve much. It's very linear. It's very predictable and incredibly stable. This makes for an incredibly beautiful wear on a day-to-day basis. This could even be signature scented during the warmer months. I do think that this is a little bit more of a warmer weather scent just because it evokes that feeling of being on the coastline of Oman. It's just so tranquil, so vacation-like, and it really suits the warmer weather. It really suits being on vacation. I'm not saying that this is tropical whatsoever, but it really conveys the feeling of relaxation. This is more akin to something like a Zen scent or like a meditation scent, and I wear it a lot because of that, because it gives me this feeling of tranquility, of serenity. It's really second to none in this regard. Going back to the transition and evolution aspect of this, although as I said before, the fragrance is quite linear, it does budge a bit, it does move a bit. In the dry down, you lose some of those fruity notes, some of those floral notes, which really serve to give the frankincense a lot of freshness. In the opening, it really feels like you just picked the frankincense, and in the dry down, you kind of lose those. You're basically left with some marine note, with a little bit of frankincense smokiness, but it's very beautiful. It feels like a proper end to the day. It feels like you lost the sparkle of the daytime and you're slowly moving into the evening and everything is just calming down. There's a lot more smoke, but it's not deep, it's not churchy at all. It just lingers like a fog. It's the perfect ending for such a fragrance. In the dry down, it's just as beautiful as the opening. I find it so incredibly amazing and interesting how the creative genius of someone like Karin Vinchon-Spenner can be put to such different uses. On one hand, she comes out with something like this, which is very relaxing, very delicate, and very timid. On the other hand, she comes up with something like Overture Man, which is bold, which is in your face, which is very brash. I find this so incredible, and I truly think that Amouage should be putting her to good use and having her work on a lot more stuff in the future. She is really the face of Amouage. Her and Julien Rasquinet are so good for the brand. But now let's talk about some practicalities for Amouage Lineage, starting off with performance. I get really good longevity out of this, about 8 to 9 hours, and I smell it deep into the dry down. I have to confess though that my skin is particularly sensitive to marine notes and they seem to stick around a lot. This scent in the dry down is absolutely beautiful. It still has a beautiful sillage that is very detectable. It's so relaxing. It's so fog-like. It's absolutely mesmerizing. On the projection side, it's also great news. When you initially spray this scent, you get an incredibly beautiful sillage which really accompanies you, which really lingers in the air. It's not room filling, it's not overpowering, it's not abrasive whatsoever. It's just incredibly elegant. And again, it keeps to the theme of the fragrance of being very delicate and very relaxing. The sillage is predictable, the wear experience is absolutely beautiful, and it peters off in a very linear manner down to the dry down. You can always smell the scent. It really just accompanies you throughout the day, throughout the wear experience. It's glorious. I really like it. it. If you want to start a day with a little bit more of a relaxing demeanor, this is the scent to go to. When it comes to actual versatility in use cases, I do think that Amouage Lineage is very versatile. It just comes across as subtle and non-intrusive. It steps into the background and lets someone else take the protagonist role. It's never shouty, never abrasive. It's very, very likable, very clean and relaxing. No one ever seems to notice this, and I wore this in many situations. You can only smell it if you really get close to the person. And not because the scent is lacking power, quite the opposite. It's just because the scent comes across as very natural. It comes across as part of the environment. It's not like wearing Frédéric Malle's Promise, which is incredibly bold, incredibly shouty, and noticeable across the room. This one here is Zen. It's pure meditation. It just puts everyone in a good mood in a very subtle way, in a very unnoticed way. I wore this in pretty much every situation. I wore this at the office multiple times. No one batted an eye. No one even commented on it, just because, again, it's fairly subtle, it's not intrusive at all, but I could still smell it throughout the day. Even in the gym and during other sport-related activities, this one here works surprisingly well. If you spray before starting, that sparkle that you get, that image of the sparkle off the waves, off the rocks, really gives you a little bit of energy. There's a slight metallic note, which is empowering you, but at the same time, the scent is really relaxing you. It really de-stresses you and allows you to focus on the exercise. It allows you to focus on what you're doing. Again, it's surprisingly meditative, but it also carries a little bit of presence. It carries a little bit of power. It's really, really interesting. It's so good in that regard. And that's what actually makes it so incredibly versatile. When it comes to day to night, though, I do think that this leans a little bit more daytime just because of the image that it conveys. It's such a strong image to escape. It's very difficult to not picture that beautiful shoreline in the daytime. You have that sparkle off the waves that I keep on talking about. That is not something that really happens at night. You really can't picture the warmth and the texture of the sand during the night. Yeah, so for me, this one here definitely leans daytime. I wouldn't necessarily wear it at an evening event, like an evening party, or anything engaging and very loud. It just doesn't fit that environment. But at home, maybe after a shower, in comfy clothes, on the sofa, watching TV or reading a book, yes, this one here could definitely suit that purpose. It just comes across as very relaxing and very tranquil. It would be a great way to end the evening. When it comes to demographics, this is a pure unisex scent despite the bottle design. Fear not, if you're a guy and you're scared of wearing this, give it a try. It's absolutely glorious. It is very abstract. It conveys that image of tranquility, of relaxation. It conveys that sacred natural environment. But other than that, it can be definitely worn by anyone in pretty much every age range, any situation possible. Again, it's very abstract. It's a very visual fragrance in pure Renaud Salmon style. It's really pretty and I really, really like it. And everyone around me seems to also like it, regardless of gender and age. Imagery and narration wise, the Amouage fragrances are so rich in detail. They tell amazing stories. This one here is pure visual. It really transports you to that coast. It really transports you to the seaside with the beautiful waves just rolling gently off the rocks and off the beach. It's almost impossible to escape, at least for me. I really, really picture that image. It's so relaxing, so tranquil, and it's one of the reasons why this scent is so powerful when I wear it. Every time I put this on, I'm immediately brought to that place. I'm immediately brought to that scene. And again, I'm flooded over with this creamy warmth. It's absolutely incredible. At the same time though, it's not too in your face. You can easily push the scent into the background. It's really, really beautiful in that regard because you can make it a daily scent, even a signature scent in the warmer month. Heck, even in the colder months, if you really want to be inspired by a little bit more of a warmer weather, by a little bit more of a seaside scenery, which is relaxing and cuddly. This one here though is a different type of cuddly from like a snow scene under the covers. This is more like a sun-kissed scene at the beach, but not in bright, shouty light, not in intense heat. Everything is perfect in here. Everything is pastel, everything is dreamlike, everything is blurred. Absolutely beautiful. But it's time to talk about some fragrance options for my reviewed fragrance. In the case of Amouage Lineage, I really wanted to leverage that beautiful, tranquil marine aspect. And the first fragrance that I want to showcase is one of my favorites of all time. This one here is Ambre Supreme by Les Indemodables. This fragrance is absolutely incredible. It features so many nuances, so much to uncover, so much to discover, so much to experience. I barely wear this fragrance anymore just because I'm terrified of wearing off the effect that this fragrance has on me. It's absolutely beautiful, and this could be my ultimate signature scent. This fragrance features true ambergris, real ambergris in high amount, and you can really, really tell. The ambergris in here is definitely the star of the show. It has a sparkling effervescence, which comes across as clean, clean and fresh. This is like the best interpretation of a clean human skin smell. It smells like your skin when you're back from the beach and you haven't showered yet. It smells a little bit like sand. It smells a little bit like salt. It smells textured. It smells luxurious. It smells elegant. It's absolutely incredible. It has a sparkliness to it. It has an effervescence to it, which just smells like you're doing well in life. It smells like you're happy. It smells like you're just healthy. It's incredible and it's difficult to describe. This scent also comes across as very, very clean. It has an aldehydic opening. It has a floral opening, which is magnificent. It burns off pretty fast and it transitions into this ambergris accord, which is to die for. This has to be worn on skin and you have to wear a lot of it on to really get the full feeling of this. If you're timid on the sprays, you will not get the full effect, and I've learned this the hard way. The first 10 wears, I was so scared of wearing this out that I would only wear 4 sprays. Now I really started pouring it on and I get the best results possible. The second fragrance I want to talk about is a relatively new acquisition. This one is from the niche house of Selcouth. This one here is Mystic Shore. This fragrance is incredibly good at depicting an aquatic environment. It's not necessarily tropical or beach-like. There's not much saltiness in here. There's nothing funky or weird, nothing fishy. It just comes across as like fresh water, fresh, invigorating, sparkling water. When you first spray this on, you're immediately met with a beautiful fresh water feeling, almost cucumber-like. It's incredibly invigorating. It's a little bit green. It's a little bit floral. It kind of reminds me of the aquatic version of something like L'air des Alpes Suisses by Andy Tower. It's so delicate but present at the same time. It also lasts a really long time. It's incredibly unique. I love spraying this, especially in the morning. It's like the perfect cold rinse to the face. It's really, really invigorating. The brand of Selcouth is new to the market. I think to understand that it's a brand from Kuwait, or at least a perfumer from Kuwait. It's very, very unique, very affordable, and this fragrance is definitely a standout. It's very refreshing. It smells like nothing else in my collection. It's so unique. I really, really like it, and I definitely recommend you check it out. The third fragrance that I want to showcase is definitely a little bit more weird, while still retaining a lot of wearability. This one here is Zoologist Seahorse. I've talked about this fragrance a lot. I really, really like it. It smells incredibly unique. It smells like the sea, but not like the deep sea. It smells more like the sea around the coral reef. It smells like shallow waters. It smells like algae. It smells like that sort of environment. It smells like the environment of a seahorse. The name is so insanely fitting. This one here is by Julien Rasquinet, which is very, very creative, and he injected this fragrance with a lot of weirdness, yet a lot of wearability, as I said before. This kind of smells like a designer fragrance in its wearability aspect, but it also smells very different from anything else. There's a very prominent fennel note in the opening, a green, very saturated, very vivid fennel note, which really permeates the first half of the wear experience. This fennel note is definitely peculiar. It's not for everyone. It comes across as green, vegetative, crunchy, and watery. It's really, really strange. And this freshwater aspect of the fennel really combines with the sea aspect to really mellow everything out. It's not overly salty. There's no real calorie in here. There's nothing fishy in here. It just comes across as a beautiful coastline environment. Again, shallow water. I picture myself snorkeling beneath this shallow water, looking up and seeing the sun shimmer through the waves. It's a beautiful marine environment, so kind, so friendly. This is basically the perfect fragrance for the film Finding Nemo by Disney. It's that kind of environment. It's so colorful, so vivid, so saturated, but at the same time, so wearable and likable. This is universally beautiful. It's universally fun and playful. It's really, really nice. It's one of the standouts from Zoologist, and you really have to get to know this fragrance, because when I first sprayed it on, I was like, this is kind of simple, but then the more you wear it, the more you start uncovering the facets that this has. It's so, so unique. I really recommend Zoologist. It's one of my favorite houses ever. Victor Wong, he's pretty much my hero. I have to sample the new creations. They sound absolutely incredible. Specifically, Portuguese Man of War. It might be the perfect sequel to something like this. I'm so, so hyped. But back to Amouage Lineage for my final recommendations and overview. As you may suspect, I'm a huge fan of this fragrance. I really, really like it. I like the simplicity aspect of this. It's simple on the surface, but when you delve into it, when you experience it multiple times, you really uncover all of those delicate facets, which makes this so, so special. It's also incredibly evocative, very transportative, and it's relaxing like no other scent in my collection. It's beautiful, it's evocative, it's sunny, it's really likable, it's mass appealing. This could be easily a signature scent in the summer month. As I said before during my practicalities, this is really, really great. Also, as I mentioned in my introduction, in my opinion, this is definitely one of the best Amouage fragrances to come out in recent years. It perfectly aligns, it perfectly matches Renaud Salmon's vision and approach to creative direction. It has a strong visual component to it. It's so photographic in nature. It's very, very particular. And I really applaud both him and Karim Binchon-Spender for the job well done. This one here will stay in my collection. I really cherish it. I love wearing it. It's such a breath of fresh air. And again, when I want to put on something very relaxing, which is still likable and not too intrusive, this one here goes easy on the choice. If you like this type of content, if you like my approach to video, feel free to subscribe. It's always massively appreciated and it helps the channel. If you want to interact with me, leave a comment, suggestion, opinion, or anything else down below. I always reply and I always keep the conversation open. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time. It's never taken for granted. Many more reviews to come, many more fragrances to showcase. I'm very, very excited. See you in the next one and cheers.